back to Demigod Debut. I'm Mal, lover of parallels and longtime Percy Jackson fan.
And I'm Julie, Percy Jackson amateur. We're still going with amateur because I'm only 3 books in.
3 books in, crazy.
Finished, yeah.
This is a podcast where Julie finishes the Titan's Curse for the first time, and we talk about it. We are also joined today by Emily from the podcast Monster Donut.
Hello.
Welcome. We're so glad that you're here.
Thanks. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. It's a good book. It's a good ending.
It is a good ending. Cool. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your Demigod debut? Like how you got introduced to the world of Percy Jackson?
Oh, man. Let's see. I think I got into it at some point in middle school because I was one of those, you're like a really cool kid when the librarian knows you because you spend every lunch in the library.
Oh, yeah.
And she's curated a stack of books for you that she just leaves out on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's how I got introduced to Percy Jackson because I don't fully remember, but I was a huge Greek mythology nerd. I grew up with that D'Aulaire book of Greek myths, deeply core text to me as a human. And yeah, so I read the books. I enjoyed the books. And I read the entire first series. Basically, I think I started when maybe the Titan's Curse or Battle of the Labyrinth had come out, was about to come out around then. So, and then I kept reading through Last Olympian. And then I was like, that was a great book series of 5 and stopped for a while.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Because I was in high school, I didn't have time. Although my co-host Phoebe, meanwhile, on her parallel track was deep in the fandom at that point. And then I only came back to the books really after I graduated college again. That's when I first actually sat down and read all of Heroes of Olympus. And yeah, however many years later then, I kept yapping about it. So we were like, might as well start a podcast.
I mean, yeah, love to yap.
Yeah. Again, my co-host Phoebe, she's a professional story analyst basically for her actual job. She's a dramaturg and she loves Percy Jackson so much. And then for me, I studied Greek and Latin in school and all the classics. So I would keep texting her this is wrong while I was reading them. And we would just talk about it for ages. So it's been a good time. They're really fun there's a lot here really to talk about, which has been a really fun part of actually sitting down and analyzing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is our 8th episode talking about this book. We've spent 8 hours of our life talking about this book, which is so wild to think about.
Yeah. It gets you.
Yeah. All right. So we've got chapter 19 and 20 to talk about. So chapter 19 is The Gods Vote How to Kill Us. So this one starts on Pegasi flying to Olympus. And Percy is a guy who, really appreciates a good location. So, of course, he's telling us how beautiful it is. And Blackjack sets him down, tells him good luck, and asks if Percy doesn't come back, if he can stay in his cabin. And this does make me wonder, what is the line for who gets to stay in a cabin? Because the Pegasi are related to Poseidon as well, right?
It's a good point. I don't know if they're technically his children. Yeah, no, they're his grandchildren because technically Pegasus, the original, was born by Poseidon and Medusa. And then he's the father of all Pegasi.
Okay, so then Blackjack is Percy's nephew.
Wait, hold on. I know this. First cousin once removed.
Once you start getting into the removed, so I don't even know what that means anymore, but...
So I've had to learn this because I have a pretty big family, but the difference is basically you're a first cousin if you share a grandparent and a second cousin if you share a great grandparent. But if you just adjust one generation would share a grandparent, it's a once removed. So Percy's Poseidon's son.
But Pegasus is also Poseidon's son, right? Or no?
Yes, but then Blackjack is Pegasus' son, so it's once removed.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, they're half brothers. Nephew once removed, I think. Nephew once removed, or just nephew, No, I'm talking out of my ass. It's for sure step nephew.
You need ancestry.com right now.
Yeah, I just talked myself in circles, and I talked myself into no, because they're not cousins. They don't share a grandparent. What am I saying?
Oh, okay. So good. I was right. Great. Well,
Vindication.
For those listening, first cousin once removed is my first cousin's child is my first cousin once removed because we still kind of share that we're in that same tree of the family versus their child and my child are second cousins.
See, this feels like an important conversation to have regarding Greek mythology because everyone is just cousins siblings in some way.
I love how I came out so strong and was so wrong. It's great.
It's all about confidence.
I was like, I'm an expert on this actually, and then proceeded to just spout nonsense until I was like, and you're right.
That's okay. We're wrong all the time.
No, yeah, nephew for sure, but they're not like full blood siblings. So, but I would say nephew.
Point is, he's still family, and so I feel like he should have a spot in the Poseidon cabin.
Yeah.
But I've also really just been advocating for, better treatment of Blackjack in this book because Percy really worked him hard, like getting him to DC, and then didn't even give him any donuts. And so I guess I'm not beating the horse girl allegations in this one because
No, that's real. I would say Blackjack's probably an example of Percy perpetuating the cycle of not being the nicest to the people that are doing you a favor on Mount Olympus.
yeah, common theme in this book.
This is Blackjack's quest, actually.
Okay, so then Percy, Annabeth, and Thalia kind of stand there together looking at Olympus, and Percy says it's just like they looked up at Westover Hall in chapter 1, and so much has happened since then. And having the three of them here together and here at the beginning, I wish we got more of this trio because I feel like it would just be a fun, great dynamic.
Yeah, it's true. We don't spend a lot of time with all of them together.
It's a 2000s book. There can only be one girl in the trio.
I don't think that's true. I think Rick did a good job here. There's plenty of great female characters.
That's true. That's true. There are some good female characters here.
My favorite part rereading Titan's Curse, I remember, was the hidden enemies to lovers with the tragic ending of Thalia and Zoe Nightshade romance.
Yes.
Like, there's backstory. There's lore.
Yes, we have been saying this entire time that they have the most ex-girlfriends energy possible. Like, they're just...
The tension.
The breakup was ugly. They are listening to Chapel Roan. It's
not good.
Did you all see that TikTok interview clip where apparently Walker's been listening to Chapel Roan?
Yes, I did see that. Iconic. A great choice.
Get her on the soundtrack. Anyway.
All right, so then we have our first Council of the Gods. It's kind of wild. We've been hearing about these since book 1, and this is the first time we get to see all the gods together. And Bessie and Grover are also there. And the gods have voted and decided to actually do something for once, which, yay. Artemis and Apollo are going to be like hunting down monsters. Athena is off to check on other titans. Poseidon is ready to wreck the Princess Andromeda. But like, also these kind of just feel like things that they should have been doing already. I don't know why we needed to have a council vote, but it does feel very classic, the government. Gotta get through all the red tape to like actually get things done.
That's how a bill becomes a law. Yeah.
FEMA.
Did you just say FEMA?
Yeah.
Yeah, FEMA.
I'm gonna wait till after the disaster happens and then clean up. That's FEMA.
That feels accurate. And then Percy kind of gives us a rundown on all the gods, including the ones we haven't met yet. They also start fighting about whether or not they are going to kill Percy and Thalia. And Zeus and Poseidon are both defending their kids. Hooray, the deadbeat dads do the bare minimum and advocate for their children to live.
Low bar.
You love to see it.
That's the only thing I've ever asked of my parent.
Yeah.
Is for them to say, you know what? Don't kill my child.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes a good parent, right?
That's it. That's a good parent.
Bars in hell. The bars in the underworld.
They could be a great parent by then occasionally talking to their children. That would be, whoa.
That's just above and beyond. Like, why are we, no. We should just be grateful that they're only a little considering killing us.
So true.
I hated that.
Athena is very pro killing them. She's very much like, yeah, I'm proud of my kid too, but these other two, they're a threat.
They saved Annabeth. You should be grateful.
Yeah, exactly. But Athena is Athena.
Not a good girl. We already knew that.
Basically, it all boils down to the only thing they're in agreement on here is that they should destroy Bessie. Percy's like, absolutely not. This is just a sweet little cow. And if you kill him, how are we any better than Kronos? And honestly, it's a good thing that they do not destroy Bessie because I think Julie would be boarding the Princess Andromeda to join Luke's side if this cow did not survive.
You're so right. Would immediately turn me. Be like, you cannot kill Bessie. I love her. Him. I love Bessie. Isn't Bessie a boy?
Yes.
I think, yeah, I love him.
What is gender?
Bessie is whatever they want to be.
So true.
It was actually kind of interesting. I didn't really fully notice it until I was rereading it this time around. Like the parallels of them debating killing Bessie versus killing Percy and how they're just like one and the same to the gods almost. Like they have to use almost the exact same argument.
Ooh, that's true.
Where it's just like, yeah, there's this thing that could be a massive threat that's a huge MacGuffin that could destroy us or save us, and it's safer just to destroy and push it off to a later date. Yeah, it was just very interesting to me. I was like, look at Rick, he's cooking. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, like comparing and contrasting the arguments as well, and like looking at like at what point people shift in their opinions depending on who you're talking about.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's kind of this theme throughout this book in like the ways that those kind of with more power use other people and things kind of like without regard. So I feel like that kind of comes into play here as well, like with the gods and just kind of using the heroes and then not appreciating all the good that they did and then, you know, immediately turning around and voting like, I think we should kill them.
Yeah.
But, you know, they end up not getting killed. Thank goodness, because then we would have no more books. Artemis says that she wants to make a reward, and that is choosing her new lieutenant. And Percy's entire life flashes before his eyes. Poor guy, panicking, rambling, but not successfully able to tell Annabeth that like he doesn't want her to join the hunters. But, you know, it is not in fact Annabeth that Artemis is after. It is Thalia, and Thalia accepts. I just realized I said both different pronunciations of Thalia, just like in the same sentence there.
It's like, what are we going with?
That's fine. Cast a wide net. It's fine. We're fine.
One of them has to be correct.
It's both. It's both. She's both. It's fine.
I believe it has changed in the like official pronunciation guides as well. Like it is not just like one person. Like they've changed their mind a lot on it. Like
my entire life I've been like, it's Thalia, it's Thalia, it's Thalia. And then the show was like Thalia. And so then I kind of started saying Thalia. And now I just like, whatever comes out, comes out.
Yeah. Thalia is technically like the Greek pronunciation, but like Thalia is like a name people have now that's usually pronounced that way. So like,
Whatever her name is, she will not be turning 16 and she will not be the child of the prophecy because she does accept Artemis's offer. She hugs Percy, says she's proud to be his friend, also hugs Annabeth and Grover, and goes off to join Artemis.
Well, we knew it wasn't going to be Annabeth. Let's be real. But I like the idea of Thalia, like, taking her destiny into her own hands like that. And, like, it was kind of nice because it was almost like, not like redemption's not the right word, but, like, her destiny for a while was stolen from her because she was a tree for a lot of time.
Yeah, true.
Like, she died, but she was, like, a tree, so she kind of had part of her life stolen. And so it's nice that she was kind of able to take control here and be like, this is not preordained. Like, I'm going to take control of this, and this is what I'm going to do. So I kind of like that for her. Very empowering, it felt like.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the end of kind of this arc for her. I mean, also kind of the beginning of a new arc for her. But the one thing that has always bothered me is her joining and just like immediately getting the role of lieutenant, because Thalia is great. We love her. But what does she know about running the hunters? Like, this feels like a job that you need to promote internally. Like, some girl who's been in this hunt for like 400 years, like, that feels like the logical choice. Like, someone who knows what they're doing. Like, does Thalia even know how to shoot a bow? Or is this a skill that comes magically when you join the hunters? Like, did she only get this position because she's like technically Artemis's sister? Is Thalia a nepo baby? That is the question we need to ask.
It is very nepo baby, I will say. The only thing I can say in her defense is she's probably one of the oldest ones.
True.
And she's probably canonically the most powerful magically. So if there's something about the magic power being important to your like power as a huntress, which I track with Zoe, since she's like technically like a nymph. She's like a little beyond even demigod. Like that checks out.
And that would also check out with like Zoe's interest in kind of shaping Bianca to be the next lieutenant as well.
Yeah.
I guess, because if they were looking specifically for a really powerful half-blood to be the next lieutenant.
Yeah. And there is an interesting thing in this book, I think, with Bianca and Thalia, and how they're both kind of part of the same arc, the way I sort of interpret it, where a lot of like the choices Bianca makes in her involvement in the story and and vice versa are like things that sort of like both of them have been given the opportunity to choose and take on. It also kind of makes sense in that way to me, where it's like if Bianca was the one being groomed, but then Thalia is stepping, like she's almost like the placeholder in the hunters for Thalia in this book. So Thalia kind of stepping in there does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the beginning, she's the one they could recruit when, you know, before ages ago, they tried to recruit Thalia and yada, yada, yada. There's a bunch of other parallels as well.
I didn't even consider parallels between Thalia and Bianca. Ooh.
I feel like I remember so many of them, but I'm trying to remember the specifics now. I mean, that's a big one though. It's the choice to join the hunters. It's also the like familial situation. Both of them are sort of people who not only did not have a great relationship with their mortal parent and were both kind of parentified as a result.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Much to consider there.
Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know. It's just fun. I like them a lot. I'm also a Bianca defender for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, no, number one, Bianca is a child, was a child, is a child. Like when you're 12, you're 12. And then also like I am an oldest sister and you know what? I get it. I understand her.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So then we have a big old party because, you know, we're not killing anyone today. And so Percy gets to talk to some various gods. Grover walks around with his little latte muttering about Pan.
Espresso, not latte.
I thought it was a latte. Is it a latte?
That's not me espresso.
It's that Pan espresso.
Another great soundtrack option.
Percy runs into his dad, Father of the Year, who didn't want to kill him. And Poseidon tells Percy he hopes he won't let him down and also that he's done well. Poseidon then brings up your friend Luke, and Percy is so very quick to just shut that down. Like, he's like, no, he's not my friend. And this, to me, is such a reminder that Percy is a kid. Like, very much like, no, he's not my friend. He's not invited to my birthday party. We're not friends.
Yeah, it reminds me of like, this is somebody I became friends with afterwards, but I apparently inadvertently crushed this person's dreams. In 6th grade, we were all like in a new school and a teacher was like, oh, are you guys friends? You know each other? Because we've been talking to each other. And I just turned and said, no, we're family friends.
Oh, that's harsh.
And apparently he'd had a crush on me and was like, I guess that's not happening. This is what middle schoolers are like.
Yeah, it's very middle school.
In my defense, I did not know about the crush. And also, we only ever saw each other because our parents were hanging out.
Yeah, that's textbook family friends. But also, I feel like a lot of times when you're younger, there's not a huge difference between just the friends that you hang out because your parents are friends and then the friends that you like hang out with by choice. Like your friends as a kid are very much just like whoever is near you, I feel like. So
6th grade is like you're kind of growing out of that a little bit. Like I maintain that I don't think I was doing it to be mean. I think I was genuinely, I have an urge to correct people, and I think that was what overtook me in that moment.
Like, don't get this wrong.
Like, I think the way he tells the story, it was like a very mean moment. But the way I would definitely what was going through my brain was like, well, that's not totally right.
Like, we're just family friends.
I don't know.
Brutal.
But it's very much that I get that energy here where it's just like, oh, you two know each other and you're the same age, so you're friends, right? And it's like, no, Dad.
He's not my friend.
Ben tried to kill me.
Many times. Then Poseidon says that Luke was once Hermes' pride and joy, and that even the bravest can fall. And Percy's like, you know, speaking of falling, he did fall off a cliff and he's dead. Poseidon's like, he's not dead, like Annabeth already told us.
She was right. Believe women.
Exactly. And I still don't know how this happened. I don't know how he survived. Like, the best answer I can come up with is there has to be some kind of like Chronos magic afoot here, because there's like a thing that I feel like could be an explanation, but I don't think that thing has happened yet. So it's like,
this is the debate. Like, this is the thing.
And then it's like, okay, did Rick forget his timeline? But then there are also some details like in the fight that make me believe that like, no, the thing has not happened. So I'm like, what is the truth?
Is the thing a spoiler that you can't say?
Yeah. We find out some stuff.
Spoiler alert, there's a thing that's happens at some point. And I'm just like, has said thing happened? But I think the answer is no. So then how did Luke survive?
I'm trying to remember what my stance is on this. I think it's something else. Like, I think there's something else going on.
I think like I feel like it had to have been Kronos like slowing down time or something, so he like fell slow. I don't so it's something.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with okay. Well, my actual theory is I'm gonna go with spite.
Powerful force.
It's good.
I don't know. I feel like there's something to be said for like fate intervening.
True. It just like wasn't his time yet.
Yeah, like that's not the way this is supposed to all end, you know?
Yeah, Julie, that's kind of what you said. You said it was too undignified of an end. Like he's gotta continue to.
Yeah, like he's just gonna fall off a cliff. Give me a break. It's too lame.
It's a crazy scene though, right? I oof.
Oh yeah.
I did imagine it like the scene in Die Hard where Hans Gruber is falling from the skyscraper. Like that's how I pictured Luke falling in my head.
Yeah, I pictured it a little bit like the scene from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 where like Gwen is falling and it's all like dramatic on her face and she kind of like sighs. I was like, that's Luke falling off the cliff to me.
Yeah, I can see that. Except then no one grabs him. He just falls. My poor boy. My poor boy that's just trying to lead a revolution.
Okay, but because the next thing that Poseidon says is that, like, nobody can be forced to take the sky unless they're a Titan, and that nobody in Kronos' army would do it willingly, except for Luke, who did it purely to manipulate Annabeth into taking the sky from him. Like, you didn't have to do that, Luke. I know you're under the influence of Kronos, but, like, that's too far for me. The way he treats Annabeth is too far for me, and I can never be a Luke apologist because of it.
I'm not a Luke apologist. I enjoy his character a lot.
Yes, he's a very good and interesting character.
He does bad things. And I think he is right about some things. I have a lot to say about how like the Western civilization stuff is super tied to like white supremacy, imperialism, and all of that. And just like him wanting to tear that system down, he's making points. He's at the end of the Lightning Thief, he's saying things. They're all facts. They're all very important points.
The worst person you know made a good point.
For sure. No, he's definitely making points, and sometimes it kind of feels like what they do to villains in like superhero movies when they start making too much sense is they like make them do something kind of cartoonishly evil, so you're like, oh, they made points but not like that.
Well, I think what's interesting about this series though is I don't think it goes in that direction, which is kind of interesting. Like I don't know, like I feel like I mean they make him do like bad things to Annabeth, but like he's still, when we encounter him still, he's not like like they'll just make Magneto massacre a bunch of people for no reason. Like he's not doing that.
I don't know. I was just thinking more specifically with like the Lightning Thief, kind of the end there with how in the book he's like, here's all my points, and then I'm just gonna like kill Percy with a scorpion.
Yeah, we can't all be perfect, So
maybe not like cartoonishly evil because it's not like massacre, but it's like it's the thing that tells us like, no, he's a bad guy. We're not supposed to agree with him.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, though. It's like if the narrative has to tell you he's a bad guy, is he a bad guy? You know what I mean? I do feel like he is wrong in how he goes about, like the way he's wanting to build his new world, and that is important to acknowledge, but, he's got some good points in terms of what's wrong with the world currently.
He does.
Does he deserve to get kicked off that cliff?
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
Did enjoy reading.
Absolutely.
So then after our conversation with Poseidon, we get our banger of a conversation with Athena. He's very much not happy to see her after she just said he should be killed. And she says, don't judge her too harshly. And she stands by the fact that he's dangerous. And she says he may be useful, but also his fatal flaw may destroy them all. And she says that thinking of the last 3 books that we've just been through, Percy has gotten mixed up in the drama each time because of someone he cares about being in trouble. First his mom, then Grover, and then Annabeth. And so she says that his fatal flaw is personal loyalty, and that to save a friend, he would sacrifice the world. And I feel like I remember from your podcast, Emily, that you do not agree with this fatal flaw.
Yes. Well, I don't know. It's up for debate. What it is. But I would posit the ending of the underworld scene in The Lightning Thief as a counter argument to his fatal flaw. Because at the end of when he's in the underworld, he is presented with the choice, save your mother or save the world. And which one does he pick?
Right.
So,
well, and I also was thinking about how whenever he captures Nereus and he gets to ask him one question, he really wants to ask about Annabeth, but he knows like Annabeth would never forgive me if I don't ask about what this monster that we're hunting is. Like if I don't save the world, Annabeth would never forgive me. So that's like a second time that he chooses the world over someone he cares about.
Yeah. Although that one, it is a bit of a murkier example, I will acknowledge, because he's like, because that's what Annabeth wants him to do. So
yeah,
I don't know. For me, like it depends also on what your definition of fatal flaw is. We actually had a really interesting conversation with one of the staff writers on the show about this, Daphne Olive, because for me, I've always interpreted fatal flaw as the thing that's gonna get you killed.
Right.
Like the thing you can't
right.
you know, the flaw that you cannot overcome that will be your doom. So whenever I'm like looking at someone's fatal flaw, I was always looking at like times they were almost the source of their own doom. And there's a few scenes with Percy that come to mind, and I'm trying to think if there are any in the first 3 books. Because the biggest example I use hasn't happened yet, but
yeah, because I kind of feel like at this point, like the thing that keeps getting him into situations is like people he cares about being in trouble. So
yeah, like actually here's some examples I'd give. Like maybe like challenging Ares or challenging, you know, Atlas. Like I feel like those two feel like fatal flaw moments to me.
yeah.
But Daphne made an interesting case for a different interpretation of it, which was that it's both your greatest strength and your greatest weakness. And I think with that definition, personal loyalty would make sense to me for Percy, because that could definitely be his greatest strength.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think his loyalty to the people he cares about. But then I think about like loyalty, and he is pretty quick to like write people off once they have betrayed him. Like if you want to look at somebody who's loyal, look at Annabeth continuing to say like, no, Luke can change, Luke can change, Luke can change. Like Annabeth is the one who I feel like has shown more loyalty. So it's just kind of, I guess, like semantics of it all, but like loyalty doesn't feel like the right word. I kind of like, I feel like it has to do with the people he cares about, but I'm like, is loyalty the right word? I don't know.
It's true. It's a good point. I think like you could almost argue like you said, like Annabeth's loyalty towards Luke is something that is a huge problem for her.
But also maybe that just ties into her pride. Maybe it's more of an I can change him kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Or she doesn't want to admit that she was wrong about him.
Also prideful.
That's true. That is pride. Yeah. No, I've always been right, actually. Yeah. So I don't know. We've had a few different theories as to what Percy's fatal flaw could be if it's not personal loyalty. But none of them are like easily summed up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like at this point, though, in the story, I don't think I've seen it. I don't think I've seen it with Percy. I don't think I've seen what Athena's talking about.
Also, I mean, I guess if you're taking it as like, it can be your greatest strength and then also your greatest weakness, like it just hasn't really been a weakness for him yet. Like he hasn't succumbed to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Athena closes out our lovely conversation by telling Percy that she does not approve of his friendship with her daughter and that she doesn't think that it's wise for either of them, which, you know, just goes to show that even the goddess of wisdom is wrong sometimes.
Careful what you say there. I just meant like she'll come find you. She can hear us.
And the beef with the mother-in-law is a little stereotypical, but I'll allow it.
She's just looking out for her daughter. It's like one of those things where you're like, you don't want your daughter getting involved with like a troublesome boy, a troublemaker. And Percy, while maybe he's not looking for trouble, trouble is looking for him all of the time.
That is true. Trouble finds Percy. And speaking of Athena's daughter, she does in fact come and join in on the tail end of this conversation just as her mom leaves. And Annabeth asks, like, oh, was my mom giving you a hard time? And like touches the little gray streak that Percy now has in his hair that matches hers. And Percy's like, there's a lot I want to tell her, but Athena has taken all the confidence right out of him. Ugh, tomato, tomato, tomato. How could Athena do this to me? But he does, you know, have enough confidence to say, I think we got interrupted at Westover Hall. I think I owe you a dance. And this is the first time that Perseus Jackson has ever been smooth.
I know. I was going to say, it's like, you're saying all this stuff where you lost all this confidence, but did he? Because that line, what a line.
It's pretty smooth.
And I'm like, if he had a little more confidence, what would he have said? Because as the kids say, like, he's got some riz here.
As the kids.
Oh my God. Do the kids even say riz anymore?
It's aura now.
Yeah.
It's aura.
Is it?
Yeah. You just lost major aura points.
I am not hip.
Oh my God.
It's fine. We're all a little bit old, and it's fine. And you know, Percy and Annabeth always bring out a truly ridiculous side of me. Like, I am a grown woman. Why am I reading about these children like slow dancing and like kicking my feet and giggling? Like the matching gray streaks. Like,
Because it's great.
any other 14-year-old came up to me and was like, I'm in love with this person, I would be like, no, you're not. Like, you don't, what? You're a child. But this, I'm like, this is it.
This is peak. This is the best. This is, I think, the best friends to lovers has ever been as a trope, I think. Like, this is peak. This is it.
Oh, agree.
Well, enemies to friends to love, rivals to friends to lovers, mostly friends to lovers.
I think more rivals. I don't know if I would say they were enemies, because they were always kind of working together.
Mm.
So then we have chapter 20. I get a new enemy for Christmas. And this one starts with an Iris message to Tyson.
Tyson!
I know, Tyson.
Sorry, I love Tyson.
I mean, he's the best.
He's so cute.
Tyson rocks. Percy fills him in all the important information, and Tyson says that he'll visit next summer and he'll be able to fix Percy's shield that got damaged in like chapter 3. So hooray for the probable Tyson return in future books. Then Percy also calls his mom and finds her holding hands with her friend from class, whose name is not Mr. Blowfish, but that's what Percy is calling him. And that puts us at 2 for 2 on Iris messages from Percy, where his mom is with this man. So how often is this man at Sally's?
I mean, I don't know. They're getting pretty cozy.
And like, how long do we think this has been going on? I mean, I need backstory. I need drama, because like Percy is giving me nothing.
Well, that's because, you know, he's a teenage boy. Like,
Yeah. And I mean, like, Sally's not going to tell her 14-year-old son, like, the tea on this new relationship, but
no.
come on. The girlies in their 20s want to know.
We want to be friends with Sally Jackson, getting coffee and
Yes.
spilling the tea.
Yeah, Sally Jackson's in her own little romance novel. She's having her time. She's writing her book. She's living her life. She's fallen in love. It's great.
It would be fun to get this from, like, Sally's POV, like, kind of what she gets up to, while also kind of worrying about Percy. Like, I don't know, I always think, like, outsider POV, like, fanfics are really cool, because I like to see things from a different perspective, and when, like, the main stuff is kind of, like, going on in the background, I just think it's interesting. So, give me the Sally Jackson A.
Now I just want to see how many. Hold on, I'm curious now.
Wait, what are you looking for?
Sally/Paul on AO3. Damn, 2,000 fics almost.
Whoa!
Dang.
Whoa.
But how many of those are just them in the background of other things?
No, you're right. A lot of these just involve Sally and Paul. They're not about Sally and Paul. Oh, I found one that's from Paul's perspective.
Oh.
Okay. We're getting somewhere.
If you find anything that looks good, send it to me.
There's 2,000 of these. No, I did a search for this recently because someone was asking like, oh, has anyone ever like tried to write the Titan War from Luke's perspective?
Somebody wrote the whole thing from Annabeth's POV, and it's very good.
Yeah, shockingly, no whole series from Luke's perspective yet.
Wow.
Okay, I'll be right back. I touched my foot. I need to wash my hands.
It's your own foot!
I know! That's my fatal flaw.
Can't handle feet.
Fatal flaw is feet. That's a pretty good one.
I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah, she really does not like feet.
I get it though. Feet are not great. They're not my favorite body part.
Yeah.
Well, and the best part is I'm wearing socks. So I never actually touch my foot, but I touched my socked foot. So I still have to wash my hands.
Okay.
That's fair. I mean, floors are dirty.
It's just, I can't. Like, I can't touch my phone. It's like, then I can't do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Foot talk.
That's how you get the views.
There we go.
God.
Foot talk.
Little teaser. Trigger warning, foot talk.
Maybe if we talked about feet.
That's how you get people to. That's how you get to listen to your podcast. Is talk about your feet.
Just describe them.
Yeah, paint a word picture.
Start a Patreon. If they subscribe to our Patreon, they get feet pics. That's what it is.
Is that what's on the Monster Donut Patreon?
You'll find out. No. Maybe we should post feet pics. No.
Gotta subscribe.
I'd subscribe. No, I'm just kidding. Where were we? What were we doing? Sally and Paul. I feel like it's pretty mature of Percy to be like, as long as my mom is happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like, much respect to him for the way that he always kind of seems to trust his mom's judgment and like lets her take care of herself. Like, I feel like letting her deal with Gabe was kind of a big thing and like a big show of like, I trust my mom to make the right call, which is I
Yeah.
appreciate.
I think it shows how strong their bond is. That like I think all of the ugly feelings that might come from that are like really feelings that like you're worried your parent isn't gonna like love you the same if someone new comes into the picture. And I feel like it shows that like that's not a factor for this relationship, which is really beautiful.
Yeah. And he also like goes through his little moment of like considering the quests that he just had and like seeing all these guys like mistreat girls who love them. Like he should maybe be worried about his mom in the situation, but he can't help but feel happy for her. And he also says something here about meeting Aphrodite in person, like scared him more than Ares. And like, we don't have time to unpack all of that, but Aphrodite visiting you and kind of trying to get you to admit to yourself that you have feelings for your best friend like scares you more than the guy who almost killed you. Like the one who cursed you to have to like not be able to use your sword when you fight Atlas and like made you have to take the sky instead.
I don't know. I feel like that feels very accurate to my middle school experience.
Like being dead is better than having a crush.
Just like, oh, I have to fight something with a sword? Sick. I have to confront my emotions and feelings and deal with navigating like crushes and relationships. Out. Done. No. Bye. Like,
That's fair. That's fair.
it's a messy, messy world, and it is terrifying.
Yeah, because like friends to lovers is fun until you get to the point where like you're having to talk about like becoming lovers with a friend. Like that's too much. We can't do that.
There's a messy, terrifying in-between phase where you don't know if the other person likes you back, and you don't know how strongly you feel. You don't know if this is gonna ruin your friendship. So I think there's some people where you can have an emotional maturity to be like, I'm okay with this relationship even if we don't date. But I feel like that takes a lot of strength and maturity and strength of character and maturity.
That 14-year-olds don't have.
Yeah. Or 14-year-olds could have, but
Usually don't.
it's tough. You have to really have lived a lot and had a lot of relationship with people, I think, to understand yourself on that level and trust
Yeah.
yourself on that level.
Do these 14-year-olds? No, I don't think so.
No.
Then Percy promises like that he's gonna come home for Christmas, and she promises to put blue candy in his stocking, and he ends the call, and Percy, Mama's boy Jackson, is like, wow, Thalia was right. My mom is really cool. And she is, but it's just funny.
I love that bookending it like this makes it feel like that was the entire arc of the book, with Percy realizing his mom is cool, actually.
This whole journey. The Titan's Curse is actually just about Percy recognizing that his mom is cool.
Mm-hmm.
They go back to camp, and Grover gets all the satyrs riled up about his pan encounter in Cloudcroft, the town that has more evangelical churches than grocery stores.
Wild.
We went on a Google Maps deep dive about Cloudcroft, New Mexico. And then Percy and Annabeth go to a senior counselor meeting, and guess who's back? It's my girl Clarice!
Oh, boo. Boo.
She looks very rough. She says she's got bad news. Wonder what that could be about. Chiron kind of changes the subject and it's like, yeah, you succeeded and you saved Annabeth. Annabeth like smiles at Percy gratefully, and he gets all embarrassed and starts thinking about the weird mortal girl that he met at the dam again, and how like he's only made it this far because so many people helped him. And I cannot believe he is thinking of other girls at a time like this.
How dare he?
Percy also confirms for all of them that Luke is alive and tries not to be annoyed by how interested Annabeth is in that information. And Chiron kind of tells them that he thinks the first attack will be on camp, since half-bloods are the tools that the gods use. And he says something about like, oh, Clarice's news might give us a clue about how they'll attack, but they are interrupted by Nico coming in and asking, hey, where's my sister?
Oof.
And then I shouldn't be laughing. I shouldn't be laughing. Why am I laughing?
It's horrible, Mal.
I'm sorry. Percy like looks at Chiron and can't believe that nobody's told Nico. And honestly, I also cannot believe that Chiron didn't tell Nico. Why is this Percy's job?
Even if they wanted to wait until like everybody came back, like Chiron should be the one telling him, not Percy, another literal child. He's the adult in the room.
Like, let's have this 14-year-old boy tell this 10-year-old that the only family he has is dead? That'll be so good for both of them, both Percy and Nico. Once again, Chiron is bad at his job.
Yeah, no, someone needs a certification in grief counseling.
Yes.
And I don't think that's in the cards for anybody at this point, which is unfortunate.
Camp Half-Blood they need a third adult, Chiron, Mr. D, and then some kind of therapist, counselor person.
In Chiron's defense, I think Percy would probably deliver the news better, though. Because Chiron's track record for delivering terrible news it's terrible.
That is
it's
true.
Not good. What does he say? Like, he says something like earlier in this chapter. Hold on. Oh no, it's later. It's afterwards when Nico runs away. He's like,
"Oh yes, yeah, like it would be better if he died rather than join the Titan army." Chiron,
like, damn,
stop.
Well, at least maybe he'll die. Like, that's the reaction. What? I don't. Good. That's like on par with Poseidon's like, I wish you weren't born, child.
Oh,
you
God.
know, like these adults aren't very good at delivering at saying things, talking to children.
And you'd think they've been alive for so long, like you'd think they would get better at this and they just don't.
Yeah.
So then, Percy tells Nico and it goes really well and they stay besties forever. The end. I mean, no. And Julie, you did see this coming several weeks ago when we recorded the last episode, because you hit us with another spot-on prediction that kind of made me wonder if you were Googling things.
I can understand fiction that's written for a 12-year-old. What can I say? I've got this in the bag. Reading comprehension.
It is kind of the obvious conclusion to this arc, yeah. Yeah.
That was my highest SAT score.
Reading comprehension.
I got a perfect on the reading comprehension part of the SAT.
Mm-hmm.
It's my claim to fame.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That sticks with you for life.
Math tanked, but reading, that was good.
I think math was my highest.
Well, you're a STEM girly, okay? We can all be,
Sort of a STEM girly.
It bothers me to this day that I was 10 points off a perfect reading score.
Oh.
And I was also 10 points off a perfect round number for my total score. And I was like, God damn it. If I just, like, the wanting the perfect numbers in me was just like, ah.
And that's when you want to know which questions you missed.
Yeah.
Like, which one was it?
God, I do not miss the days of stressing out about standardized testing.
I was an SAT, ACT tutor for a while after I graduated college, so I got to be on the other side of that. I've been radicalized by many things, but nothing has radicalized me more than being an ACT tutor.
How so?
Because I feel like there's like a whole thing where like the entire idea of the SAT and the ACT is you can't like really buy your way to a better score.
But that's untrue.
But you absolutely can.
It's not true.
You like just seeing the extent to which you can was wild to me. Also, the SAT was invented in the first place to quote unquote prove that white people were smarter. So maybe let's not use that anymore. Maybe. I don't know. Like maybe we should do that.
Wouldn't that be great? And that's not even taking into account all the inequality in education before they even get anywhere near taking the SAT. Like,
oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's so much about education that is just criminal.
The fact that America funds our public school systems via like property tax for the area, that is not a thing elsewhere. Like that is so bad. It's just like, oh wow, this system is rigged.
Okay, so Percy and Nico. Percy then tries to explain like how Bianca sacrificed herself, and he also tries to give Nico the little god figurine that Bianca died for. And Nico's like, you promised you would protect her, and throws the statue, says like his nightmares were right, he should have known. He says that he can feel that she's in the fields of asphodel standing before the judges, which is really a crazy power to have.
It's wild to just know that as a 12-year-old.
Yeah. And then the unkillable skeletons also return here to make things even more fun. And Nico accuses Percy of trying to kill him, even though Percy is like actively trying to get him to run. And Nico screams like, go away, and opens up the ground and swallows the skeletons. And then Nico tells Percy he hates him and wishes he was dead and runs off and disappears in the woods. And Percy like picks up the statue that Nico left behind and realizes that he does know who this god is, and it is Hades, Julie's favorite.
My boy, my mob boss.
Okay, here I have to bring up the parallel that I brought up earlier in the book between like Percy and Luke in The Lightning Thief and then Percy and Nico in this book. Because like the way that Luke kind of was the one to welcome Percy to camp and help him figure out what to do like with Capture the Flag, and then like Percy kind of played a similar role for Nico in like his first game of Capture the Flag. And then I think like the subsequent betrayals that end up happening at the end of the books kind of parallel each other, because like they both kind of start with a hey, come on, let's take a walk, just the two of us. And then there's kind of, you know, the realization that there was a betrayal that happened on the quest. There's an attack by some kind of mythological creature, and then like both end with one party disappearing into the woods. And I feel like, you know, you can make an argument about like intentions here, like where Luke intended to betray Percy, like giving him the shoes and like using him in this plot to like bring the bolt to Kronos. Percy didn't really intend for like Bianca to sacrifice herself. In fact, like he actively tried to stop her from doing it, but you know, ultimately you have Luke who tried to use Percy to further his mission to resurrect Kronos, and then Percy who, like intentionally or not, kind of did use Bianca to further his mission to like save Annabeth and kind of Artemis too, I guess. And as much flack as we were giving the decision to have Percy be the one to tell Nico about Bianca, I think it is kind of necessary to kind of make this parallel happen, because I don't know, thinking about how this book deals so much with like heroism and the way that heroes kind of use and hurt people to achieve their goals, like I don't know, I feel like this is
Fitting.
kind of an indicator of that like even if you have a quote unquote like good hero, they can still kind of make the same impact as like someone who isn't necessarily making the right choices like Luke. I don't know, I just think it's kind of an interesting, like it's interesting to compare the two.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Nico, his feelings, he feels the exact way Percy felt. And
Yeah.
like that is important. Like the emotional truth of what he's feeling is the same, regardless of the circumstances and the intention.
Like it doesn't mean much that like, oh, it was an accident.
He's still dead.
Yeah. That's true though. I think this book is really powerful because of that theme though. Like I love that. I love how much it explores that, because I think it's really easy to fall into just painting people as heroes and not examining what that means in its like bad way. Like there's a sort of like, I think, moral purity that we kind of ascribe to the concept of being a hero a lot of the time, like the Captain America effect, basically. I don't know. I like examining the fact that most of the time, to do things that are on the scale of significance that these characters are doing, there's consequences and bad things and bad intent and things that go wrong and all of this other stuff, because that's just more realistic.
And like we were saying at the beginning, Percy's treatment of Blackjack is a great example of him kind of mistreating some of the, I was going to say people, but Blackjack is not a person, like the living things and creatures that help him.
Yeah.
And then there's also just the like tragedy of Bianca as a whole. Like we don't get her in the story for very long, but every choice that she makes in the book is so geared towards like trying to make her own life. Like she joins the hunters, she goes on this quest, like she wants to be her own person, and she wants to not just have to be Nico's sister. But then like in her death, her role gets kind of just boiled down once again to like being Nico's sister. Like she just wanted so badly to be her own person, and now she's like kind of killed off as character development for a man. Or I mean, I guess men, Percy and Nico, kind of get character development, but like it sucks, and it's sad that she like becomes exactly what she didn't want to be in like dying. Like she's just Nico's dead sister now, and that's a bummer.
Yeah. Although, I don't know, I do like the fact that she does get to have some agency over her life first. Like her choice to become a huntress is very hers, and like her kind of reclaiming things. So I don't know, like yes, legacy wise, it's kind of sad, but also in terms of like her as a person, though, it is nice that she got her chance to just sort of be. I don't know. There's an interesting thing in history or mythology, I guess, with like the Hunters of Artemis kind of representing this ideal of like a world outside of patriarchy where you can just exist as a woman in ancient Greece. Like she did get that, which was nice.
She did. Very briefly, but she did.
I do think it's interesting that also like conversely, then she's the one like who ends up getting taken by the narrative. Well, no, because Zoe too, like they kind of were both in their deaths brought back into the world they escaped.
Yeah. We're killing off a lot of women in this book until it's written by a man.
Eh, eh.
Come on, Rick.
Nah, I think he did a good job writing some very, very interesting female characters.
No, yeah. I think it's just kind of like it had to happen, and they were both very interesting and, you know, had agency and got to make good choices. So
Yeah.
last little bit, they search the woods, can't find Nico. And Percy kind of says that we shouldn't tell Chiron that Nico is a son of Hades. And, you know, judging by the fact that, Julie, you clocked it weeks ago, I feel like Chiron probably could work it out on his own.
Mhm.
Or maybe he needs to be in love with Hadestown Hades to make the connection,
He just needs to have Hades on the brain, you know?
as you do.
As I do all of the time. I am obsessed.
As a teacher, though, you know, I'm sure you clock the types coming in. Do you think you'd ever hit a point where you're just like, yeah, I know what he is, but like,
Maybe.
is it worth talking about? Does it matter?
But also, how much did Chiron really hang out with him? Because he doesn't seem very hands-on.
I would find it hard to believe someone as experienced as Chiron and who could presumably like gauge how power, because like there's a whole thing where it's like the satyrs at least can tell how powerful the half-bloods are.
That is true.
So like presumably Chiron can too. So they might get like some inkling of being like, oh boy,
Here's another one.
here's another. Like I feel like if you've seen every kind of kid go through every kind of situation, you're not gonna be like surprised or like be like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I feel like after a certain point, I feel like, you know, I think you'd be able to clock like, this is a child of Hermes. This is a child of Athena. Like you just can tell. Maybe.
How old is Nico here?
He's 12, I think. Oh no, he's 10.
10. Okay.
Yeah, so Grover and Percy do tell Annabeth what they learned about Bianca and Nico being born before the big three gods made their oath, like to not have kids, and how they were in the Lotus Casino for a while. And they agree to keep it quiet so that hopefully the gods don't start fighting about it. And Percy's like, we don't need to hide it forever, just until I'm 16. And then he chooses the prophecy. He's like, it's gonna be me because I can't put Nico in any more danger. And also I owe that to Bianca, which is just kind of a wild thing to do. Like it feels like a huge decision, but it's also like, Percy, do you have that power? Do you have the power to just decide that, like, yeah, it's going to be me?
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, it is an interesting question of like, can you choose a prophecy in this universe? Like, how does that work?
I mean, I guess coming off the tale of like Thalia very much not choosing the prophecy, intentionally making choices to get out of it, I guess we can choose the prophecy that he hasn't even heard yet and doesn't even know what it says. What a choice. What a choice by Percy.
We also kind of choose him to be the hero. Like, I feel like he's been on kind of a like, then Sea of Monsters and Titan's Curse, he's like fighting for his life to be the main character, you know? Like,
yeah, a little bit.
Sea of Monsters, he's not the main character of that book. And then this book, Thalia shows up.
He's certainly not the main character.
She's the main character. And he's just fighting for his life. So I think this is also a moment where he's like, no, I'm the main character, guys. I'm the main character. I'm choosing it. This is my story.
Then they tell Chiron that Nico ran away. And then we get the fun moment that you mentioned earlier where Chiron says he hopes that Nico got eaten by monsters instead of getting recruited to the Titan army. Yikes.
That's just wild. What a wild thing to say.
You could say that same thing without the I hope he's dead part. Like you should be like I hope that the Titan army doesn't recruit him. Period. End of sentence. Like you don't need the first part. And then we kind of get everybody's like plans going into the spring, I guess. Annabeth plans to give San Francisco a try. Percy's going back to the city. And then Pan speaks to Grover and tells him, I await you. And that's the book. That's the third book. 3 books down.
I can't believe you got me to read 3 books.
Isn't that crazy?
I will say the next one is my favorite Percy Jackson book, period.
Oh, mine too.
It is an incredible book, truly. Like,
no, Battle of the Labyrinth is peak literature, and I'm like only kind of joking when I say that.
It's so good.
It's literally unmatched. Yeah. Julie, do you have any more final thoughts on the Titan's Curse?
I really liked it. I think it's my favorite so far.
Excellent.
I have a special bond with this book. I love this book.
We'll see if I read the next one.
You're reading the next one because it's my favorite.
You will not be disappointed about the Labyrinth. I'm just gonna say it's such a good book. Like there are so many incredible scenes in that book, and they're all just like the way they stack on top of each. It's just the construction of the writing is so good.
It's so good. It's so good.
I love the Titan's Curse because I love the tone shift in it as well. Like I love how it deepens all of the relationships between the characters in a very interesting way.
It also starts feeling a little bit more serious. Like this war that was just kind of an idea starting to feel a lot more real.
I feel like the first two books, there's a lot of buildup of like, yeah, we're heroes, woohoo. And this is the one where we're starting to be like, but should we be unquestioning completely about this system and all the people that have participated in it? Like, are these heroes really all that, you know? Like, do you really want to be like them?
Yeah, much to examine in this one, for sure. And even more to examine in the next one. I can't wait. But however, everyone is going to have to wait because we are taking a hot girl break because I've been doing this for 29 straight weeks and I'm tired. So we will return most likely in late August. Woo! As soon as I finish Julie's Iraq War book.
Thank you. We made a deal. You're gonna have to read another book for me if I'm gonna go on your fourth one.
I love that you started a podcast with somebody where you were like, well, I'm gonna have to bully them into reading all of the books for this podcast.
And I'm just letting her bully me.
Yeah.
Because I have low self-esteem.
She's liking it more than she'll admit. All right. Well, Emily, thanks for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Do you want to plug your podcast? I mean, if anyone's listening to this that hasn't listened to Monster Donut, why? Like, go get some real analysis.
What are you doing? Yeah.
Well, thanks. I don't know. Yeah, I run another Percy Jackson podcast called Monster Donut with my co-host Phoebe. And we basically break down all of the books in we do like basically deep dives in terms of like literary analysis and also classics. So if you like to really dig into the themes and learn a little bit about the historical context, that's what we do. And you can find us at PJO Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also find us on all of your various podcasting platforms under Monster Donut. And yeah, you should also, I always plug Phoebe's art because she's amazing at it. But my co-host Phoebe is also an amazing artist. So if you want to see some really cool fan art of some of the stuff we've covered in the Percy Jackson series, that's all up on Instagram. But you can also buy some of it as part of our merch if you're interested at all. If you want to get cool Monster Donut t-shirt or oh, I shouldn't say that's a spoiler. Never mind. But yeah, we have fun over there. We're ramping up to do a full Riordan verse, like everything in the Riordan verse, like Greek and Latin series wrap up.
Are you gonna do like Magnus Chase and the Kane Chronicles? Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, that's next. We're doing the Kane Chronicles next, which is great. I have to learn Egyptian mythology.
Awesome.
I did not grow up with Egyptian or Norse mythology the way I grew up with Greek mythology, so David's gonna have to do some research. But yeah.
It was great to talk to you both.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Emily.
Lovely to meet you.
See you later. Hi, thanks for listening. If you want more of us, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at DemigodDebutPod. And if you liked what you heard, please drop us a review wherever you listen. Like I said in the episode, there won't be a new episode next week, but we will return with Battle of the Labyrinth August 22nd. See you then. Bye!